What's up, everybody? We are back with The Color Out of Space by H.P. Lovecraft. We didn't talk about it at all. Last talk, if you guys remember, she hated H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, redeemed.
She read like 4 different stories, right? We read.
Yeah, I actually
You
may have
read
read
even
5.
more. Yeah, a lot of his earliest works and all that. And yeah, you didn't
This
like
is
it.
so much better.
Yeah. So we found this actually because I figure she loves Stephen King stuff, and this cool little list here. I heard him mention this in a podcast or in an interview where he mentioned
Dr.
his.
Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Wow.
What?
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde would be a good read too.
Yeah, I know, right? There are a ton of amazing things on here, but right over here you have the Lovecraft ones that I've heard Stephen King mention. Somebody asked him, "What are your favorite?" He said The Color Out of Space is number 1, and then I don't know if there's any order to the rest, but At the Mountains of Madness, The Dunwich Horror, The Rats in the Walls, and Pickman's Model.
I want to read The Rats in the Wall. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it's shorter too. But yeah, we'll get to it. So I love that
I totally get why
Yeah.
he loves this one.
This one, we'll get to it. So you guys know spoilers and all that. We're going to run through a quick summary and then we'll go through all our notes and deep dives. But The Shining is a foreshadow. You caught that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to get to that part. What did you want to say before we jump in? Nothing?
Nothing.
You're good? Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, no, you look like you had a thought.
It is gone.
It's gone. It was taken by the squatting.
Oh, no, it might be back.
Uh-oh. From the beyond, from out of space.
I feel like this would be connected to a lot of Stephen King's stuff and his world,
This could fit
his
in
meta
his
world.
mythos. Yeah.
And I think it may have even inspired some of his mythos. And I might be wrong because I watched that movie a long time ago. But the Dreamcatcher.
Ah, okay.
Pretty sure Dreamcatcher had some of the elements that's in this.
We'll get into some of the real world parallels I think Lovecraft is trying to work in here. He worked with, I can't believe I'm blanking on their name, early Secret Society, Lemuria, Helena Blavatsky types, all those kind of guys. What's
I don't
it
know
called?
any of these people.
They're like occultists in like the 1900s-ish area.
And this is why
before
I don't know.
that. Group. What the hell's their group called? Theosophical. So there's theosophical texts. Yeah, founded in 1875. So a lot of popular, a lot of stuff comes from this group, and he's writing in this style where there are current day New Agey religions that are taking works of fiction from Theosophical Society writers, and they're acting like it's real. And I've said how some of Lovecraft's work is so spooky, I don't like to read it. It has a real effect on me.
Yeah, so I was reading this in the pitch black after the baby, like I was finishing the last of it after the baby was asleep. And I had my back to the end of the bed, and I was like, why am I so creeped out right now?
She has her back to a window to a lake, by the way. That's what I didn't want to creep you out with. I'm glad I didn't tell you that before you went in the room all dark by yourself.
And the bathroom, and like...
Yeah. Why is the bathroom scary?
You never think there's someone in there?
Oh boy, what in the hat man is going on? Holy shit, Benadryl. How many Benadryl? I gotta check the closet.
Don't take any of that nonsense.
She's drinking your breast milk. You cannot be trying to see the hat man through your Benadryl-induced nightmares.
Disclaimer, I don't do any of this
nonsense.
I
just made that up and I see that as a meme online. But yeah, we do live on a big old lake and in the South Florida area, so it's kind of creepy how he plays with water and all this stuff and what's lurking deep beneath.
It was at one time.
What? What'd you do? Don't tell me you're killing people and talking to aliens and shit in the lake.
No, I was just
can't
playing.
Handle that.
I was just playing. I just thought it was.
We do have Santeros because we're in South Florida and they put up little shrines around. It's sometimes it's a little spooky.
It is spooky.
Yeah, especially depending on what's at those shrines. Sometimes it gets bloody. Anyways, you want to run through the whole plot here? You want me to do it? You want to do it?
I think you take point.
Okay, I got you.
Because I took point in the last one.
Yeah. And I'm going to go super broad on purpose. Okay? We're just going to go through it. We get our guy who's an inspector. He comes out and surveys the site they're going to make a reservoir, which is kind of like the lake behind our house, which it's a man-made lake. It's a big old deposit of water.
Which, is this in like New England?
Yeah. Okay. Most of his stuff is. Even though it also has Oregon vibes to me, too, for some reason. Yeah. I know, and you see, so a whole bunch of this whole area is just weird and kind of abandoned and super rural, and all kinds of different immigrant groups. I mentioned here French Canadians, Italians, Poles. Nobody can stay in this area, and there's this weird big 5-acre patch of just gray dust, burned out. They call it the
blasted heath.
Yeah, the blasted heath. So it's like as if something burned, but none of the ash gray shit goes anywhere, right? It just
the wind doesn't pick up the ash. It just is like perpetually gray.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, really.
There are theories.
Oh, really? Okay, very cool.
That was at the end.
No, I know. I'm just wondering what your personal theories are on top of all that. So yeah, even the trees are all weird. Everything's strange about this, and he meets this character that's going to drive most of the story, Ami Pierce, in his crazy tales. The whole town has this hushed
thing. The town of Arkham, by the way.
Yeah, Arkham. I know Arkham Asylum and Batman, but a lot of stories from Lovecraft are going to be around Arkham. So I don't think any of them are directly, like a sequel, but they're all in the same kind of universe and same metaphysics, and obviously with the creepy monsters sometimes. But this On the Branch, by the way, is the space branch. If you read Dagon and you like it, you go and read this one, and that's the space thing. Because there's all these guys don't want to talk about this event in town where a meteor landed and shit goes crazy.
Because it's the city of Arkham, but then we're in like the suburbs. Like the Arkham is the closest city to like this rural area that people live in.
They're out in the boonies, and this is 1800s boonies. Like, this is real, actual boonies.
Yeah, you need a lantern.
I guess it's 1900s by now. But he mentions, like, this is not a long, long time ago. This isn't hundreds-year-old myths and, like, old witch tales. This should happen in the 1880s.
Yeah.
And this is, like,
he
early...
He calls it the 80s.
I know, it's just funny, right? Hearing him call it the 80s, and I'm laughing like Stranger Things and, like, spooky shit set in the 80s for us means, like, Walkman radios. And D&D. But anyways, even the Indians, the Miskatonic and all that stuff have weird lore, ancient stuff here. I didn't highlight that. But anyways, they have... The whole event was in June of 82, and this meteor lands, and everybody's excited to go get samples from this meteorite. It's landed in front of this farmer's house.
The professors come from the college.
Yeah, and the professor... it lands in the Nahum's farm, Nahum Gardner.
It lands right next to his well.
Yeah, right next to his well.
And he basically tells everybody, he's like, look, there's a rock from the sky.
Yeah, there's one of them sky rocks, fella. So it's super cool. There's early astronomy going on around this time as well. Yep. So they go and they mess with this meteorite, but it's not a rock. It's not like real meteorite. It's like plastic, and it's weird.
Malleable.
You gotta like scoop, chisel, rip it out. Like I picture like just a really dense... in between plastic and Play-Doh kind of thing.
Oh, you know what I was... I feel like I had an idea of what this material would be. We used to do stuff like... it'll come back
when
to
you
me.
make the goo that is hard at one layer, but then when you're slow and you can rip it off. Anyways, they put it through all these cool, fancy scientific tests, and it emits a weird glow, a light that's so strange and unlike anything... It's kind of cool. It's a philosophical thing, like try and describe a color that you've never seen. Like, you can't imagine that.
Yeah.
So that comes from theory of mind kind of stuff, like what would that even mean? So it's cool that Lovecraft is here playing with, something outside of the realm of conscious blah, 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 So anyways, they keep going to the, where you got it? Help me out here. They got...
No, so first
I'm sorry, I love it, but I'm just trying to figure out
they take
where
a
I wanna
small
go
sample from the rock, and they take it to the university.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And they do a bunch of stuff to it. They heat it up, and they like put it in the dark, and they find out it's like magnetic, and they try to break it. Nothing can really break it. It seems to like absorb heat, but it's like, so it was hot when it came from the sky. It's like cooling, but even then it like can...
Oh, and it shrunk. I missed one of the biggest details.
I was getting there.
Okay.
So they're doing all this stuff, and as they're doing it, they swear it's shrinking because Nahum, when it first landed on his farm, he was like, yeah, this rock fell from the sky, and it's already like half the size that it was before.
It was like 7 feet, then it's already 5 feet.
Yeah, so they get there, and they're like, it can't shrink. You're just some...
Yeah, you're just some country bumpkin.
Yeah. So they basically take this little tiny sample to the university, and in like 3 days or in like 2 days or something,
it just completely disappears.
And they're like, "Well, we need more
but
rock."
But the vial, but other stuff disappeared with it, so it's almost like a weird.
Oh yeah, it was in a glass vial,
so
it just disappeared.
So it's a weird. It being glass is going to be interesting for a theory at the end because it starts to capture living matter. Which is where we get into the real issue here. Of course, driving the whole real main spooky part of the story is everything starts getting weird in the soil around this thing. The plants start acting weird. Their otter, the fruit, they thought it was cool because it ripened quick, but you couldn't eat it. It was all the stuff near it. And then over the months, we get a whole thing with him playing with using, each month that goes by, just weirder and weirder shit starts happening. But I can't go over the fact that the researchers are so intrigued by this that they keep taking more samples, and the samples keep disappearing into thin air, defying all known physics. I was under the impression
they take the one sample, then they go back,
and
they're going to take a bigger sample.
And that's where you get the popping.
And when they dig deeper into this thing, they find in the center of it like a pocket. It's like a little round globule.
Yeah, globule in the meteor.
And it's got all these crazy colors that they can't describe.
Yeah.
And then they basically try to take that out, like thinking it's like a gem, and they like pop it.
Yeah.
And it disappears. So they just take the piece that they wanted, like the piece they took off. And they're like, all right, Nahum, you could stay with the rest of the rock. Because for some reason, they don't want to just take the rock.
Yeah, which just keeps shrinking.
They put like the sample in a pail, I think, in the first part.
Yeah.
And by the time they get it to the university, it's burned through the pail.
Yeah.
It was so hot. So this time they're smart, and they take stuff to bring the sample. So this bigger sample, they do the same tests. It does the same stuff.
Yeah.
They see the crazy colors. Too. They see that it glows in the dark. They see that it's magnetic. They're keeping it in lead in this attempt to like keep it from disappearing, but it still disappears.
Yeah, in our universe. So everything from it not dissipating heat to the light to the disappearing is the most clear. But then you also get the phosphorescence, the glow-in-the-dark feature.
I can't say words either.
I know, right? It's an eerie glow that starts to be about, and everybody keeps denying this. Like, the build-up of this is done so perfect.
Yeah, like everyone's like, oh, it's in your head, and the people at see it are like, I swear it glows.
I can just imagine that. You know what I mean? Like, how unsettling if just a tree or just an area was just super faintly glowing.
Exactly. It's so faint. It's like your little Buddha statue.
I know. That's a whole freaky. And it's kind of that green luminescent. Why has everything got to be so freaky and apply to our real life? I have a Buddha statue that glows in the dark for some reason. It's a stone. We don't know what stone, and it just glows for some reason.
It's this really cute.
But it doesn't glow all the time. That's what's
Buddha
confusing.
Guy. And he's really cute, and he's got this little gem that he holds up, and for whatever reason, for I don't know how many nights now, he like does this on and off glowing pulsing green
she
stuff.
sees it pulsing. I'm like, well, that is Lovecraftian if I ever heard of it. We'll actually get into religious themes towards the end. He keeps playing with that and the flood and everything. Don't be scared. Oh, come on. Actually, now that you triggered it, the Halo flood, it starts from dust. It's literally a gray dust powder. So, and so much Lovecraftian themes are in Halo. So if you guys love Halo, you'll love this and all that. Anyways, Mr. Nahum, the farmer here, the farmer named Gardner, which is just hilarious.
He's cute.
I was like, really? I thought that would drive you nuts. I took a couple notes where I was like, you're going to still critique his writing style. Anyways, he has a whole bunch of family members. He has a bunch of sons and his wife, and they all live there. And everybody's getting a little weird, but not too weird. But eventually, they start drinking the water, and everybody else, like even Ami thinks that it's gross, right? It smells weird, but the family drinks the water because the well, the meteor landed near the well.
So Ami, the neighbor, and the person who we're getting the story from, he goes to visit Nahum, and because first it's like, the crops seem like they're going to be really prosperous and all these fruit are huge, and then they bite into them and it's bitter, and like then all the poultry dies, and they start having to like not be able to farm by the house and keep all the animals away from the house and eating around the house. And then he goes over to visit, and one day, and he's like, oh, can I have some water, I guess? Like, that's not depicted, but basically he goes over, they offer him water.
Yeah.
he drinks it, and he's like, you can't drink this.
Yeah, because everybody drinks out of their own well. They live in the middle of the wood, in these rustic farm plots.
And he literally tells him, I know it's going to be hard, but you need to go dig another well. Yeah. Because you're going to die. Mm-hmm. Something is wrong with your water.
And they all know that it's from the meteor, but it doesn't make sense if it's just, a rock, but it's not just a rock. And so there's all that. But then you start to get the family all acting weird. It's very on par. I was like, from the video game Sinking City, like this weird, the madness Lovecraft is known for. But even here it's subtle. They're not really going mad. They're just weird. They seem detached. It says it's mechanically the way they're going about things. And even the colors of the fruits in the grass is a little off.
Everything is starting to get gray.
That's actually what our narrator guy, the inspector, who's helping plot out the reservoir.
Like everything's starting to get kind of dull.
Yeah.
Weird.
But remember, that's what triggered him at first when he saw the well. He saw a weird, strange, hard to explain, off color around the well. Yeah, and so then they try and get everybody in town involved too, but nobody acknowledges it, and they all make fun of it. They all just kind of laugh them off. Everybody from the other farmer types, the other country folk, but the city folk for sure thinks that this is just dumb hillbilly talk.
Well, he literally calls...
the Gazette.
Yeah, he calls a newspaper, and he's like, hey... something weird's happening on my farm, and they're like, oh, look at this farmer thinks that this rock from the sky is ruining his life.
Yeah.
Right? Let's laugh at him.
Sky rocks have made me go crazy.
Which was messed up, but whatever.
I can't believe I don't have it highlighted here, but that line where the wife went on all fours.
I have that entire section highlighted. I just realized that my Kindle got disconnected.
Oh, it wasn't linked. I was shocked by the lack of highlighting going on here. So yes, the first one to go down is the first one, right? Is the wife?
Yeah. So the wife is the first she kind of is
She's just being weird.
Because the kids had kind of mentioned.
Oh yeah, but they go off to school, so they're not around it.
Yeah,
you get this
they're
very
not around
cool
it
effect.
as much. But the wife is basically home all day. And in a funny way, the farmer's not around it the whole time either, because he has to go out and do farmer stuff.
Yeah.
So she's really the one that's home and just doing
and looking at the well. You can see the well from the house.
She starts to go crazy because I think one of the kids first noticed that the trees were moving at night by themselves. Even though there was no wind.
That was Thaddeus. Where did his name go? Thaddeus.
Yeah. And she at the first is like, oh, you're being dramatic. And then all of a sudden one night she sees it happening, and from there it just kind of snowballs, and she starts going crazy, and they lock her in the attic. Well, first they let her wander around, and then she starts to become a danger to herself. Yeah. And possibly others, so they lock her ass in the attic.
But you already see the first mind control effect.
She starts to scream.
Yeah. The way the screaming is designed, like I said, it's so simply written where it just says...
refresh, and you'll see what I highlighted.
That she went on that she started crawling around. Where is it? Oh my god, there it is. I knew it. Oh, you put a note here? Oh, no, that's my note. Or is that your note? The Shining?
No, that was me. Yeah, that was me.
Oh, that's so funny. We both put separate Shining notes in here. So, I was going to save it for a little bit, but the themes here, obviously this is Stephen King's favorite, and one of Stephen King's best works was The Shining, and there's so many themes that go over here. They just feel stuck here, because he mentions why didn't he just send the wife off to the loony bin, kind of, or to seek some sort of help.
He didn't think she needed it.
But nobody leaves.
Bad,
he won't leave either eventually, They always won't do it. And with the nobody believing anybody, his son, Thaddeus, like you said, is the first to notice the trees, but there's a cool way it's written that everybody starts to notice everything, to the point that the whole town knows that this shit's real, and everybody just decides to ignore it. Because by the time of the end of the story, the problem does seem to be resolved, but...
location...
Also, the whole thing with the footprints.
12...
Go ahead.
12/6/40.
Okay. 12/6. I got you. What about it?
That's where if you want to look at the wife going crazy.
Where's that on? It's on here with
his wife.
By July. Yeah, by July she had ceased to speak and crawled on all fours, And before that month was over, Nahum got the mad notion that she was slightly luminous in the dark, and now he certainly saw was the case with the nearby vegetation. So everybody kind of can sense that everything was glowing, and now he's certain it's glowing, and his own wife is glowing in the dark. Subtly and going crazy. And to my point that we were like, you didn't like Dagon and some of the other stuff, but I was like, but he's so creative. Lovecraft is writing this. When was...
I actually appreciate that he actually goes into so much more detail here. It's not just all...
Yeah, 1927.
That which shall not be named.
Oh, look at the cool art. Yeah, I know. She made fun of it before and we were reading some of his earlier works
but it was all like
he goes, I can't tell you about that.
I cannot speak of this, for it should not be said. But it was so horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm not reading a book or anything. A short story. So yeah, and obviously all the animals, and I was joking while we were holding our little baby. I'm like, remember, the animals, there's animal wisdom, man. If the animals don't want to go near it, you should be terrified.
He literally told her, if the horses and dogs don't want to go near it, you can't go near it either.
Yep, which I think is great life advice. So everything is weird. It's radiating out from this, the meteor impact site, and then around the well too, it seems. And his hope is like, look, man, whatever weird minerals, it must have just been like a crazy deposit of certain mineral that's like making the plants be all strange.
Yeah,
so
it
more
should
rain.
leave. Well, that was literally what kind of the college people had said too, that because he did try to get some people to analyze his land, and they were basically like, look, the meteor can't do that, and even if it did, it'll just seep out. Like the rain will wash it away eventually.
Yeah. And so, he waits a whole season. That's what I was saying about we get each month building up. But then in September, Thaddeus goes mad, and the terrifying line, he's scared about, he went down to the well. The well visit triggered him going mad. You got the line here, the moving colors down there. He just keeps whispering. And this line was especially terrifying because they have rooms in the attic. It's kind of hard for us Floridians to visualize, but these really big up north houses where you could live in the attic. So there's, like you said, there's rooms in the attic, and he locks up the son across the hall from the mom. And so the other son is listening to them. The way they screamed at each other from behind their locked doors was very terrible, especially to little Merwin, who fancied they talked in some terrible language that was not of Earth. So you're already seeing their consciousness being somehow manipulated by this alien being, this extra-dimensional being.
Basically, all their livestock starts to die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the like you said, the cows go nuts. The cow, which is crazy. This is way before cattle.
The cows don't go nuts. The cows literally
the cows dust.
Like
the whole body would be uncannily shriveled or compressed. It says here, shriveled or compressed in atrocious collapses or disintegrations. Huh?
No, was that the pigs?
No, that was the cows.
Oh, yeah.
Something struck the cows.
Oh, yeah,
the pigs also fall apart. Their fucking faces fall or something. The graying and turning brittle.
Can you imagine your pigs just coming to you and like his jaw falls out?
This is scarier than cattle mutilation, right?
Yes.
Right? Like by a lot. I don't know why. It's so freaky. They're just like just dusty thingies just crumbling. So cool. And then a lot of the plants did that too, of course.
The dogs left. No one noticed. I did think no one noticed the cats leaving was funny.
That's my favorite. Yeah, we both highlighted that too.
She was the only one that loved them.
Yeah. They're like, I don't know the cats. Who would have known? She's the only one that knows them. So yeah, then they start dying in the attic. The son dies. Zenos, the other one,
the oldest,
just stares into space and obeys what his father told him.
He just checked out, and he's like.
Which he says that was weirdly an easier fate for him. The screams of the mad women and nervous child. Like the neighbor is visiting. You're visiting your neighbor. You're just normal ass farmer neighbors.
Because he started to notice like they started to disappear. Because at some point the kids were going to school and things got really bad when school got let out for summer.
Yeah.
And he noticed that all of a sudden the family was like not going to church and not going to like the social. Because when you're in such a rural town, it's kind of expected that you're going to take your family, especially like when you have kids, to go like to the fair or to go see this or to go see that or like.
And everybody sees everybody.
You're going to visit each other and make sure you're all alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you used to do check-ins once upon a time. It's not like you could just text each other like, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you alive over there?
Yeah, and so, but that's what I'm saying with like The Shining, like the house, like so in this case,
all
not
by
really
themselves.
the house, it's just the area, this impact site has kind of locked them and they want to stay there. And of course, it's not them, it's this alien entity controlling them. I love this part. You get the detail that there was a crushed and apparently somewhat melted mass of iron. They're talking about his lantern, like what they find.
What happened
the lantern
was,
and pail.
First Thaddeus dies.
Mm-hmm.
And Ami goes over there to basically help bury him. Mm-hmm. And then Merwin disappears, and all that's found is, because he went to go get water, and he disappears going to get water, and all that's found is what looks like could have possibly been the pail and
but it was
I guess the water scooper.
But it was a melted mass of iron,
and the lantern.
Which had certainly been the lantern, while a bent pail and twisted iron hoops beside it, both half fused, seemed to hint at the remnants of the pail. Like, how the hell? Something. Now, what do you think happened? Like we said, like that's the entity attacked it. When it attacked it, it melted those things as it dragged the boy down into the well.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty freaking cool. Like the energy, because the little piece of the meteor was so hot and it burned through things.
Yeah.
Like
it's so creepy.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel so bad for that little boy.
Yeah, an extra galactic heat radiating strange.
They talk about how before anyone died, their horses stampeded to like break out of the barn when they did find them, they were in such a state mentally that they were basically like out of their minds and had to be put down.
Yeah, which is also foreshadowing, right? That's what happened in the room. We'll get there. So I don't know why I find it somewhat comical, like, but creepy and realistic that he has to keep going back to his wife. He's living a normal life and has a wife at his house. It's like
nothing to see here.
Yeah, what's up with the neighbors? Like,
they're going crazy. Don't ask me.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this shit's insane.
But so again, there's like 2 weeks where he doesn't hear from his neighbor. So he goes over to check on him, and he finds that
this part was so good. It's cold.
Naum is like, the house is cold. There's no fire going. Naum's just like laid out on the couch, and he just looks like he's old and dying, basically. Like, he's just looking sickly.
He's sitting in a room with a chimney with a fireplace, but there's nothing in it.
Yeah, there's nothing in it.
There while the wind is blowing through and kicking the dust around.
He's like shouting at his oldest son to put wood wood in the fireplace.
Yeah.
And he's just out of his mind. And so,
because he keeps saying, you got it highlighted here, in the well, he lives in the well, was all that the clouded father would say.
We're not even there yet, I think.
It was right after. Oh, no, did I skip? No, it was right there. It's right after that.
Is it? Okay.
It's like a paragraph after.
Got it. So he goes upstairs because he's like, all right, this guy's out of his mind. Let me just go make sure someone else, like, see if I can find anyone else that's alive.
Yeah.
He's going to go upstairs, and he's going to open the locked door with his wife in it, and he's going to literally freak out.
Yeah.
Because she's...
Where I'm trying to find where that is.
That's before.
That's before that, really? Okay. I was remembering that after.
all this talk comes after. These are his last words.
Yeah.
Because what's gonna happen is that he's gonna go and look for her. And my notes were notes are just mean. I'm sorry.
Strangely spelled. Over here, Ami would have no particulars.
Yeah, Ami would give me no particulars to the scene, but the shape in the corner does not reappear in his tail as a moving object. Because he goes up there, and first on the first section, the stench was beyond enduring, and before proceeding further, he had to retreat to another room and return with his lungs filled with breathable air. When he did enter, he saw something dark in the corner, and upon seeing it more clearly, he screamed outright. Strange colors danced before his eyes, and had not a present horror numbed him, he would have thought of the globule in the meteor of the geologist's geologist's hammer had shattered, and of the morbid vegetation that had sprouted in the spring. As it was, he thought only of the blasphemous monstrosity which confronted him, and which all too clearly had shared the nameless fate of young Thaddeus and the livestock. But the terrible thing about its horror was that it very slowly and perceptibly moved as it continued to crumble.
Yeah.
Ami would give me no added particulars to the scene, but the shape in the corner does not reappear in his tail as a moving object. So I put, of course not.
Yeah.
No.
I highlighted it for that reason too. I was like, all right, there is still parts where he says,
there are things which cannot be mentioned.
I know, right? Of course.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what do you think he did here? Because I gather that
So I think he just opened it and she's just gray and crumbling and glowing. Because what ends up happening is that he's like in this room, then he gets that damp sense.
Yeah.
And basically a tingly feeling, as King would say, a tingly feeling in his balls, that he should not be going out there. And then when he does go out, because he gets trapped, like he's gonna come out from the attic and he's gonna get trapped in basically where the stairs, the little corner.
Yeah, to it.
And he's gonna have a feeling like he shouldn't move. And then at some point that feeling's gonna go away and he's gonna come downstairs, finish coming down the stairs, and Naum, who he had been talking to on the sofa, who he was gonna go basically pick his ass up and take him back to his house and try to piece all this shit together. He's now dragging himself to Ami. Yeah. And
But you don't. All right, so I want to go back in the room though. I think he killed the wire, put it out of its misery.
No, she's in my mind, she's in the same state that he's gonna find Naum is. Yeah. Where she's just gray, and as what happens with Naum is that as he starts to move, he starts to crumble into dust. And I have a feeling she's in the same state, but she just was sitting there. And then when she sees the door open, she starts to move and she starts to
he
crumble.
mentions grabbing something, which we'll see. I should have it highlighted somewhere.
He grabs a stick.
And to leave anything capable of motion there would have been a deed so monstrous as to damn any accountable being to eternal torment. If you didn't put it out of its misery, if you left it alive.
I think it basically died.
It's a babbling mad, she's crazy, she's nuts.
No, she's not alive, she's glowing and crumbling.
Yeah, that's what I mean, but it's moving and crumbling, right? But he beat it to pieces, I think.
I don't think so.
We'll see, but then, because he mentions, something that he's almost, covering up in his own mind. That Ami's, we'll see when we get through the notes, but that's why I wanted to talk to you about that. I was like, let's see.
Kill.
What, you're Googling it?
Yeah, I don't believe it. I think her name was Nebby.
Ami kill.
In Color Out of Space.
There you go.
Let's
see. Oh, Reddit. View spoilers. Yeah, really. What do we see here? And this guy read it in the middle of Montana. How terrifying.
Oh, terrifying.
Where is... Yeah, they all love it too, which is I haven't seen anybody that dislikes it. That's just the opinion on it. Yeah, is it spelled?
I've heard it was Lovecraft's favorite Lovecraft story.
It is, yeah. Sorry, I meant to tell you that. That's crazy. Yeah, so Lovecraft himself says that this is what he thinks is his best writing ever.
I love it.
And it was written in 1927. We said. Kill Nahum's. Let me put that, I guess. Mr. Yes, in The Color of Space, Ami hints that he killed Nahum's wife, Miss Gardner, in the attic in an act of mercy. So because you'll see 2 times later where he mentions this. There's a part that he's leaving out of the story. He just won't talk about what happened right before there. Okay. There's that weird color mist shape thing that comes out at him. It races at him too, right? It's in the room. That weird vaporous color thing.
So you highlighted a feeble scratching on the floor downstairs now sounded distinctly, and Ami's grip tightened on a heavy stick he had picked up in the attic for some purpose.
Yeah, for some purpose. He never says what that purpose was.
It had come to meet him, and it was still alive after a fashion. Whether it had crawled or whether it had been dragged by an external force, Ami could not say, but the death had been at it.
Now, I don't think Ami blacks out or anything, Shining style. I think he's just not telling, because we're getting all this through
you think he just doesn't want to admit to murder?
Yeah, through our, what the hell's our guy's name? The Reservoir Inspector Man.
There's no name.
There is no name, right? Okay.
I don't think.
I never remember names, so I assumed it was me. But yeah, But and I love this though, that what he's describing Nehun, it's just the sticky noise of some fiendish and unclean species of suction. I was like,
that description. I both love it and despise it.
But I was like, are we more Lovecraftian like sea monsters, right? Is that the vibe you got there?
That's the vibe I got.
Yeah, right? Even though it's mostly, outside of space-time.
Yeah, even though they literally shoot up into the sky later.
Yeah.
So it's confusing, but yeah, I did get very
yeah, right. Just this
Cthulhu vibe.
Mm-hmm. Which, because it comes out of the well, so maybe it takes weird forms that are...
Squish.
I know, right? They're like from a parallel aquatic realm, because they all end up being aquatic. But close enough to be described. But
I don't like it.
I know, it is great, though. And we live near lots of water.
Then, basically, Nahum, like, as he's falling apart and becoming literal dust, gives him a giant, lengthy breakdown.
Yes, this whole section here in farmer speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
Which that's when he talks about how he knows that the kids were taken by it.
Yeah.
Sucking the life out of everything.
This is cool.
In that stone. It must have come in that stone.
But just go back a second, that we're going to get at the end where this being is consuming all living things, including the very wood of the house.
Yeah.
But we don't know that yet. But over here it says, instill the pale phosphorescence glow in that detestably ancient woodwork. Like, God, how old the house was. Like, he's saying, how does it, like, affect? It's not alive. The wood is not, like, a recently living tree. It's not like they just cut it down the woods.
It the life out of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it draws if it was once alive. If it's made almost like carbon-based things, it doesn't matter. It's still, carbon. But yeah, what happens to what's his name? He just dies, right?
Yeah, he just becomes
Nahum?
dust.
Yeah,
and then they put a tablecloth over him.
From dust you will, what is it? From dust to dust, basically, in Bible. From dust you were made to dust.
You are better with quotes.
Yeah, right. From dust you were created, to dust.
You will
and
go.
to just dust you shall return. From dust you came, and to dust you shall return. In Genesis, as the curse after the fall. We'll get to more of that. I got stuff highlighted, but perhaps the punishment itself. You also have, I'll just say it now, the pillar of salt that Lot's wife turns into when he looks back at Sodom and Gomorrah getting destroyed from space, from a fucking bombardment from space from God. And the whole thing is you cannot turn around, and she turns around and turns into they always say, what was it really? Like, they call it a pillar of salt. Was it like a stone? She gets petrified. You got Medusa turning people to stone. Like, what the fuck was going on in the ancient world that people were being punished by being turned into these weird stone things? So that's what I mean by the Theosophical Society in the real world is playing with... There's people that really believe in modern texts that are written by fiction writers, like of Lovecraft's era. Huh. Lovecraft's like friends and circles that he ran in. But because they're playing with myths, like, that sounds silly, and it's like, but people wrote stories in the Bible, and some of them, even believers know, are not, like, historical. They're more parables. Point is, hey, I'm not the one who brings this up. This is Lovecraft putting these themes in here.
I didn't say anything.
All right, I get, when I get that stare.
I didn't give you any
When I get that fluoride stare. Because they're putting shit in the water.
Did you see colors?
I know. How crazy is he playing with? Like, Lovecraft is saying that there's like I said, the kind of...
I have a joke, but I'm going to keep it to myself.
Okay. That it's up in New England? That's why New England?
No.
Okay, because that's a funny joke you could make.
No.
There's stuff in the water, and the government's trying to kill you. Oh, it's making the frogs... queer, as they say in this book all the time. I'm like, boy, I read this book for the YouTube channel, so I'm like, oh my god, is this going to be like a stupid thing? He means queer in the sense, the ancient sense of odd.
I apologize.
But for real, they're putting shit in the water in the Lovecraft world. I think he's playing off of this cool, like, how creepy is it that in our world we got to worry about creepy things, getting our health being hurt from the water, And back in the day, Lovecraft is like, yeah, because they're building it on goddamn interdimensional space demon.
Literally, the
reservoirs.
reservoir guy later on is like, I will never drink the water from here.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Yeah, because they built it on the site of all this we're talking about. And that's what happened in New England in 1900s, 20th century. But
because we skipped it a little bit, but he actually goes and walks in the site, and he walks across and by the well, and he gets creeped out, and he decides it inspires him to go figure out what the heck is going on with this area. So going around town, he gets a tip to go talk to Ami, and that's how we end up hearing this entire tale.
Yeah. I kind of breezed over that to get to the slithering suction cup man. The monster in the well. Also, Wells terrifying everything with the Ring, right? The Ring movie, isn't that something that comes out the well or something?
These are all movies I do not
want to talk about this late at night.
Well, not just that. I never watched them. I had a very ridiculous imagination. I wouldn't be able to sleep for days, and I knew myself.
For days.
And I'm not nocturnal. I'm actually, believe it or not, I like to wake up early. I used to.
Yeah, really. Now the baby makes you wake up. Point is, shit hits the fan so bad out here in the middle of the woods that nobody can deny it anymore. And they get the whole damn...
Well, what happens is he goes into town after he realizes this entire family's dead. He realizes he needs to report this to someone.
He's like, I didn't do it, first off, Your Honor.
Yeah, he does kind of mention he gets harshly questioned.
He's like, I beat that to death, to dust in the attic. But
so he goes into Arkham and he tells them that these people are dead, and basically they're like, all right, well, you need to come with us. He doesn't want to, but it's like him, three men, three police officers, the coroner,
medical examiner, and the vet. I'm like, this is quite the Lovecraftian horror ghostbusting team here.
What a ghostbuster team they are.
Yeah.
And so they're all gonna show up at the farm. Mm-hmm. And everything's going to be desolate. He's going to show them the bodies. Even the coroner's... Literally, I think the wording is almost exact. Where the coroner says, there's not much to examine.
Yeah, I know. Well, he says, whatever it could be examined. There's a snarky little line. This is what a Democrat wagon looks like, I guess. I don't know why they call it that. It's just a longer, I was wondering why is it called that. They all come on this big wagon. That's just your typical wagon you would picture. Big old two spokes.
Maybe and I think it has a cover. Maybe because it could fit a bunch of people or something?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Lightweight, high-seated, horse-drawn wagon typically has 2 seats, but it could be 4 seats. It must be because, I think it's just a popular, everyday, common use wagon.
So they're in the house, and then all of a sudden the well lights up, and creepy things start to happen, and... They're literally watching the...
Hey, you, Jimmy, get in the fucking well with a stick.
Oh, yeah,
Start poking at it.
First, they empty the water in the well.
Yeah.
They dump all this water in the ground around the well, which was terrifying for me.
Yeah.
They send Jimmy down on, a rope.
Yeah.
And he pokes around with the stick, because he finds the bodies of the 2 boys.
Yeah, they find the bones mainly skeletal.
Yeah. Also a small deer, large dog, and I think... bunch of small animals.
I just love the ooze and slime at the bottom. Seemed inexplicably porous and bubbling. Is that not Dagon? You see what I mean by they're all in the same universe, but they're not. You love Dagon so much.
This is my favorite.
You really didn't like Dagon. I was heartbroken, but it's great. You like this one, but it's just cool. That's literally how they.
This man's literally poking around with the stick and he can't feel the bottom and he's all creeped out and he's like, all right.
Well, later he mentions he felt something too. I love that part. He's like, I didn't tell you guys. He felt like
there was something ominous under, in the goop.
Let me not tell the whole crew that.
Great. Thanks for keeping that secret, bro.
I love keeping secrets when we're ghost hunting. Yeah, our niece. Bro. I can't think of other Zoomer talk. Lovecraft holding Zoomer. That'd be something. That'd be a horror in of itself.
Sounds like it.
But it was the coroner seated near a window overlooking the yard who first noticed the glow about the well. The joke is everybody makes fun of the sorcerer story I told you about, that Lovecraft that you didn't like, and I was like, look, that's a joke. Me. Yeah, the sorcerer. I lived here, but this is the joke here is like he found a way to make fucking color scary. Like you're afraid of a color every time this faint glow pops up.
I basically think every time, because it also makes it sound like it's not just that it's colorful, it's like chromatic and like moving and like
I picture the space the movie.
I don't know why I talk in sound effects, and I expect for you to understand the effect that I want you.
You'll get used to it. I have. I do too. Why do I still see that? Anyways, what was I gonna look up? Oh my god, the movie, the space alien, the Spielberg alien movie. Jesus, it is late. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So,
I never watched that.
Really? Oh my god, we gotta put it on the viewing list.
Okay.
We gotta watch The Shining. When I watch this.
I will watch that if you'll watch Airplane with me.
Okay, sounds like a deal. I don't know why I picture, but the way it messes with stuff, right? The thing like this, they're like these weird like light projections.
Just pixels changing rapidly.
I don't wanna. I mean, we'll just leave it there.
What?
And pause. Spoiler, but you got the. Yeah, right. Were you seeing like the lights? I don't know why I just picture this. There's such light play in this movie, even when some of the abductions happen. So that's kind of what I thought of. You're just seeing these weird shooting light things out of the well. And like with The Shining, it all becomes increasingly obvious. It plays with these things. It's so subtle, these little glows. So like the madness in the hotel, that everything's obvious. Everybody's seeing everything now. There's no doubting it. The whole crew is very aware, and it has a demoniac tint.
Yeah, all these people are like, this isn't real, and now they're like, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I love when it describes it running away like in a dream.
Well, because, all right, so what's going to happen is that they're watching all this happen, and they're watching because basically all this energy is going to build up, and it's not going to just be a little bit of light. Like, the light's going to get stronger, and all the trees are going to be moving, and everything's going to start basically not vibrating in light, but it almost feels that way visually, vibrating in light. Not literally, just visually.
Yeah.
And like the house is going to start glowing, and then they're going to have this ominous feeling that there's something in the house. The call came from inside the house.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be like, we need to leave. And Ami's going to show them the back door because they don't want to go by the well. And at this point, literally all the horses either broke away or have collapsed and are dead.
Yeah.
So they're sneaking out the back door. They're taking this back road that Ami took to leave that he took to leave the house literally a couple hours ago when he found everyone and they all died.
Yeah.
So they're going to take that back road. Ami's going to have them walk him into his house and leave him in his kitchen because he doesn't want to be left alone, and he's so freaked out.
Yeah, in his own house, he's like, can you walk me up to my into my house? They're
going to continue on to the city, and then you're going to find out that 3 of the scientists that had examined the first globule are dead.
Yeah.
And that's why Ami's the only person that we can talk to about this. And that Ami has never been able to leave because it seems that no one can leave.
Yeah.
This thing beckons you and sucks the life out of you. And Ami, when they were leaving, he was the only one that looked back and saw that something was still colorful and
in the bottom.
Because basically all this energy builds up, and then there's a big blast into the sky. Yeah. And everyone's like, this is great.
Yeah,
it left.
Yeah.
And then Ami looks, and there's like a little tiny baby monster. And all you see is a little colorful shape, and it like goes into the well or into the ground or something. And he's like, it's still here.
Yeah. Because what I took from that is there's multiple alien entities that, extra dimensional entities.
Where they left the baby.
Yeah. Because I think it says it explicitly somewhere where Ami thinks that one got away, one got, saved by its alien allies, like a mothership.
Well, that's because you find out later there were other meteors.
Yeah. Okay.
That's so because first they tell us that they feel like the blight is spreading,
and don't worry, guys. We're gonna come back to the whole tree thing. There's some details from the. Yeah. We'll come back.
We know that they feel like the blight is spreading.
About an inch a year or somewhere. I forget where I highlighted that.
And then he talks about how he feels like there were other meteors, and
yeah.
Where is it?
I love for one feverish kaleidoscopic instant, there was a burst up from that doomed and accursed farm, a gleamingly eruptive cataclysm of unnatural sparks and substance. And that was when it leaves. The what you calls it?
Do not ask for my opinion. I do not know. That is all. There was no one but Ami to question, for Arkham people will not talk about the strange days, and all 3 professors who saw the area light and its colored globule are dead. There were other globules, depend upon that. One must have fed itself and escaped, and probably there was another which was too late. No doubt it is still down the well. I know there is something wrong with the sunlight I saw above that miasmal brink. The rustics say the blight creeps an inch a year, so perhaps there is a kind of growth and nourishment even now. But whatever demon hatchling is there, it must be tethered to something, or else it would quickly spread. It is fastened to the roots. Is it fastened to the roots or of those trees that claw the air? One of the current Arkham tales is about fat oaks that shine and move as they ought not to do at night.
Yeah. Do you want to just... is there anything else from here?
No, just that basically he's never going to drink the water.
Yeah. He's glad that they're going to go ahead with the... He's hoping that it'll flood it all out.
They're hoping that flooding it, it will die. I'm like, or I don't see how it's not going to become stronger.
It seemed to seek out the water. It jumped in the well. It didn't land in the well. It landed right next to the well and went into the water.
Man logic.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the only.
No, yeah, you want to talk about man logic?
Joke
it's
response.
Man in the sky logic. I'm saying that there was the theosophical stuff, like I said, is playing with real world religions, and the Gnostic idea that the God from the Old Testament is a bad guy. If you look at it that way, when he floods and kills millions of kids and shit, like I took a note somewhere that like because he says, "I shall be glad to see the water come." Like you said, he's gonna flood it out. So I took like the flood was sent by God. But won't it free him? Won't it give this thing more power if it wanted to live in the bottom of the well?
I feel like
you
the
just gave it a lake.
To everything in this case, in with supernatural, is fire. It is always fire. The Shining was right about that.
I know, right?
Like, oh, is that a ghost? Fire.
Yeah.
Is that a haunted doll? Fire. Is that
it's pretty beautiful.
Weird well with a weird monster? Drain it and fire.
Yeah, boil it.
Fire to all of it.
Fire all of it.
I don't know an answer that doesn't include, like, there's a solution is not fire. Yeah. You don't like your homework? Fire.
But there is an evil fire, though.
Don't take that.
Don't do that.
I refuse to be in trouble for that.
But that's why it's not. It can't be that simple. And what I love, I also put a note here, somewhere, that going back to the trees, because he says that, because you just mentioned it again, that they say one of the current Arkham tales about the fat oaks that shine and move as those they ought not do, and the trees moving was our first clue. But we get the great details. Where is the St. Elmo fire? Yes. For the terror had not faded with the silhouette. Also, the way it leaves reminded me a lot of the end of The Shining, with the whole spirit and the flying away, cool, dark thingy. Which is funny because it's dark and this one's a light. But anyways, the Watchers, and in a fearsome instant of deeper darkness, the Watchers saw wriggling at that treetop height 1,000 tiny points of faint and unhallowed radiance, tipping each bow like the fire of St. Elmo, or the flames that came down upon the apostles' head at Pentecost. So, this is, when you read, some people point out that the whole point of destroying the Tower of Babel was to scramble the languages. That's how we get all the languages. But the whole point of Pentecost, that's the Holy Spirit coming down in the flame. They could literally see flames on the heads, and everybody, when they spoke, everybody heard it in their own language. So, when I first read that, I'm like, well, how is this the same God that scrambled all our languages at first, that comes in and gives us the power to to fix that?
In a funny way, he's like, I mean, I can just have y'all understand each other. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, but that was what he feared. If you're saying that the same spirit,
why would...
Yeah, because a lot of the early, like they say, there's a great from Esoterica channel with Sledge. You heard it in the background the other day. But it gets into
everything in the background.
Yeah, a lot of early Christians did not see that Yahweh of the Old Testament was Jesus or whatever the Holy Spirit was that was doing all this, and some of the goals are the opposite. And so what I like that he's playing with Lovecraft, that's not a statement on whether or not that's true. It's what Lovecraft is probably thinking of and working with when writing this. That what if, because one of the things I thought when reading it is like, well, what if that's just sent because you basically muddled the language of your enemy and you made sure, the people spreading your message can spread it to everyone. Like you came in and fixed it. The apostles were able to preach in everyone's language. But when it was man making, when we were doing it without God's approval, our own mission, he comes down and destroys it and scrambles all our language. So the fact that you're going to flood this area, I think it's Lovecraft playing with, like, I don't know, at least these biblical imagery, everything from the turning to dust to the fire, coming down on the tips.
Dust, flood, fire.
Yeah. It's all these same kind of themes that come from the Old Testament guy versus, the New Testament one. But the whole idea that you're being tricked into helping this demon interdimensional thing.
Okay. That
the flood would have given power and or freed beings that were stuck in these little areas. This thing was stuck in a well, maybe. I know it sneaks out at night. Oh, it sneaks out in the snow, so maybe it uses the water.
This thing sneaks out all over the place.
But specifically in the snow is when we get... I don't know if he just says that because you can see the footprints.
I think it's not just because you can see the footprints. Yeah. Because if it sneaks out and it's not snowing, unless you're looking for footprints, you probably aren't going to notice. And if it's like a farm, probably thinking just some animal came through.
Yeah. Well, I know, but they even got... Even the woodchucks, they looked weird. They looked so weird that those kids got rid of it.
Yeah.
Remember?
Well, it looked so weird that the kids got rid of it, and all we had were the tails.
Yeah.
Of how gruesome they looked.
You're making fun of Lovecraft not being able to put details? Yeah, the face was so horrid, I shan't go into detail.
It was so horrid that they couldn't detail it to us or bring it
too much to tell you in this narrative. In this descriptive.
It's just my favorite thing that he does. It's my favorite out of his, where everything's like, I could never tell you this.
He's like, listen, pal,
in my life.
I just invented interdimensional, what we can only describe as like alien phenomena. Like abduction.
Is he the first to ever write about this?
Yes. He's the first to ever write anything ever. Making fun of that. Everybody, when there's a madness aspect, everybody says, oh, it's Lovecraftian, as if Poe wasn't before him and more famous.
I mean, I don't know if he's the first to write about, like, supernatural alien type.
I think specifically, if not the first, this is the first generation doing that with such real-world interest and research into space. Because really, mid to late 1800s, just the technology of telescopes. But even the early 1920s, you're getting quantum physics already and shit. So even what we think of as modern physics, it feels weird sometimes to think about that as being in the 20s. But with this, so he's in that region. So I don't think fiction writers and horror writers are thinking as deeply. You got Jules Verne and all that, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Some sort of sci-fi writers, but they're all around the mid-1800s and on, which is all Lovecraft's kind of area.
That's his jam.
Yeah.
Well,
but also this rise in the occult weirdo, like that seances were super normal in the 20s. Like we watched that thing with the Freud Netflix show and all that. Like normal folk, they look back, oh, this used to be a Christian nation, all that kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know, like to both people's points, to atheist points critiquing Christians and to Christians that are wondering where we went wrong. It's like, maybe when people were having seances everywhere, like that's both fuel that they're not good normal Christians in the way you think of it today. When tons of people thought it was normal to bring up ghosts, and they literally had all these parties where it was
and you're gonna pick on the Catholics.
They're probably doing it too. I don't know. I'm sure I can't think of it now.
I have
but
no idea.
Yeah. At least they're out there ghost busting. At least they're proactive.
I was just picking on you.
In the unseen realms. I give them credit for that.
I was just teasing you.
No, it's true though. I do like it. What's that Exorcist movie we watched? It was pretty good. The newer one with the Pope and all that. Pope's Exorcist. It was good. It was a little wacky, but.
All right. Well, the end. I just feel so. I shall be glad to see water come. Meanwhile, I hope nothing will happen to Ami. He saw so much of the thing, and its influence was so insidious. Why has he never been able to move away? Mm-hmm. How clearly he recalled those dying words of Naum's. can't get away, draws you. You know something's that's coming. I'm so bad at in my head. I actually can read it.
You know,
in the
something's
accent.
coming and ain't no use.
Yeah. Ami's such a good old man. When the reservoir gang gets to work, I must write the chief engineer to keep a sharp watch on him.
And let me just read the line that we get the title from. He's mentioning all the things that it was not, that it's just so otherworldly. It's not gas, it's not some other, anything. It was just a color out of space, a frightful messenger from unformed realms of infinity, beyond all nature as we know it. It's, a parallel universe. What are we going to do if parallel beings...
They say it's from something not from here. So that's the summary. I like how we always say it's going to be a quick summary. I'm pretty sure it's been like...
It's in an hour, but it's good. We got through most of the main points I wanted to make. I don't know if there's any...
Well, we didn't touch on the moving trees.
Yeah. Well, all right. That was just as if I know I kind of rambled and it was.
I literally wrote over here my first note in the entire book.
Go ahead.
Some of them will doubtless linger even when half the hollows are flooded for the new reservoir. I said they are burying it underwater.
There you go. Because if you know anything about Lovecraft, like all of the baddies like water. He wonders, is it fastened to the roots of those trees that claw the air? Like, it's infecting and animating nature itself and warping it to that the wind is described as moving differently. The wind won't mess with it. It's so cool to view nature in this way. The only people that I know are, who's the guy that I showed you, the Christian spooky folks? Damn it. I can't believe I forget them.
Oh, Cosmo.
Yeah, Haunted Cosmos.
Yeah,
Haunted Cosmos have an enchanted view of the world. It's like they say, it's Tolkien's view and of they are able to be work Christianity into it, but it's a very pagan worldview. They don't think that the pagans were as far off as most Christians want to say, and to view it as it literally is corrupting. This is why you get in the Old Testament. I mean, he's bringing up all kinds of themes there with the Pentecost and like in the to dust you'll return, that death entered the world, because he says death. He goes that death too, right? Isn't that a thing in here?
It's. So that's around when death was added.
Yeah,
when Nahum like drags himself to him.
There's a personification of death / death as a force, like as a separate entity. And so they always say, the way Christians word it is that death entered the world with sin. And, obviously that's not Lovecraft's worldview, but he's playing with death, the sin, this evil is literally corrupting everything. The air, the water, the trees, the soil. Like, all of it is actually having a malevolent, conscious effect on people. Like I said, the trees are sinister. Yeah. But it's at its roots. It's underneath it. So, yeah, to the point of the flood the flood just kills people and animals. It doesn't kill these fucking creatures. These creatures like the flood. Yeah. So these
people are the flood.
Yeah. I mean, literally in the dust.
These creatures are literally the flood.
Yeah. So... I don't know. I think that's Lovecraft playing with some of the more Gnostic views on the Old Testament.
I guess if you want to touch on, I found the passages. As they passed Amis, they told him the queer things that the specimen had done and how it had faded woolly away when they put it in a glass beaker. The beaker had gone too, and the wise men talked of the strange stone's affinity for silicone. Mm-hmm. On an anvil it appeared highly malleable, and in the dark its luminosity was very marked. Stubbornly refusing to grow cool, it soon had the college in a state of real excitement, and when upon heating before the spectroscope, it displayed shining bands unlike any known colors of the normal spectrum. There was much breathless talk of new elements, bizarre optical properties, and other things which puzzled men of science are wont to say when faced by the unknown.
What location is that?
12,516.
All right, cool. I know that sounds...
I actually know how to read numbers.
Absurd. I need to put a thing that loves silicone.
But although the weight grew steadily less as time passed and the fragment seemed to be slightly cooling, there was no change in the solvents to show that they had attacked the substance at all. It was metal, though beyond a doubt it was magnetic for one thing. And after its immersion in the acid solvents, there seemed to be faint traces of widmastatent figures found on meteoric iron.
Yeah.
I can read.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea I have no idea what this is.
What?
Widmanstetten.
Oh, that's actually in the cool meteorite watches I want to get. It's just here. I'll show you. Where I got lost where you were there. I'm gonna come back to the little note I just made.
12,516. 12516.
Look at how swagadocious these watches are.
Ooh.
And so that is called a how do you say it? Windenstatten.
Yo, Rolex, sponsor us.
Yeah, really. Windenstatten.
So obnoxious.
Where the hell is the word?
No, go back.
Anyways.
I got you. I was literally gonna.
I got it.
Show
Pattern.
you.
I literally looked it up earlier
it's right
to
over.
pronounce it correctly, and now I freaking forgot.
I'll show you where it is. Right up there, where above when the cooling. No, above all the way up, right down. Stop.
Here you go. Windmanstaten. Anyways, it's this cool look that you can only get from Meteor because it's a mix of different, I think, iron types.
That's so cool.
It's iron and other goddamn things, and it's it's cooling at different rates, so it makes these cool little lines. So pretty neat, and you'll see cheap knockoffs. Not Windmanstetten. Anyways, thanks. I got the nerd out about meteorite watches. I'll learn how to pronounce it one day.
When the cooling had grown very considerable, the testing was carried on in glass, and it was in a glass beaker that they left all the chips made of the original fragment during the work. The next morning, both chips and beaker were gone without a trace, and only a charred spot marked its place on the wooden shelf where they had been.
What was your point you want to make from there? You just thought it was cool?
I just wanted you to finish the... Yeah.
Okay. Well, my point is you need to get to work writing because I put a note here that it loves silicone. Jesus. Silicone is what you put around the tub. That this is, what's used in computers. He's writing this way before computers. But I love that you can think of Lovecraftian entities, the strange stone's affinity for silicon. Like Silicon Valley. Like it's all...
Okay.
You could have Lovecraftian interdimensional entities that are feeding off our computer-based world as weird little...
How do you know that's not happening?
Exactly. Weird little portals, generators, the way it loves water. What if it has a weird affinity for these silicone... Jesus.
What if it's in the internet?
What if it loves the silicone? What if it's the ghost in the shell, man? Is a Lovecraftian horror?
Oh my god.
Come on, that's cool. That's the future of Lovecraft into a digital age.
That would be cool.
That we run off
we
of
move
so much silicone.
From wet, murky, mush
into the cloud, man.
Marsh into
servers, into Twitter servers. There's some demons in there for sure.
I don't want to go there.
There's a demon horde.
Oh, there was a really cute meme where some guy was gifted like a tiara at a Renaissance fair, and the little girl was like, "You can have it. It protects you from trolls." So he put it on his modem.
That's funny. We need one of those on the right over here.
I'll take troll protection any day.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love I didn't want to that the whole time. I think that King says this is his favorite. He openly admits everybody.
This was good.
Admits to being influenced by Lovecraft.
As someone who was very honest on the last one, I enjoyed this. This was spooky. It had great pace. It was easy to follow.
It picks up like The Shining even?
It's still written...
I know, there's clunkies.
In a different style, so don't think like this is going to read like The Shining. But honestly, there's a way less... I make fun, and there are notes throughout here. If you click in the right places, you'll find me making fun of him. He was never specific, but appeared to think that they were not as characteristic of the anatomy and habits of squirrels and rabbits and foxes as they ought to be. But I just love it. It was never I basically flag a bunch of this stuff because I think this is out. But it was good. It was actually great. I did find your chipmunk thing.
Oh, okay. I forgot the cool detail that it drawed the lightning. There was a whole... lightning hit it 6 times within the hour. And after I started reading this, we had an insane thunderstorm. It was very cool.
So
lightning
cool.
storm.
Our dog almost shit himself and went to go hide in the bathroom like there was a tornado.
The wind was nuts. It was just a random storm. It was so heavy. But
thanks, Florida.
It was cool. And I was rereading Lovecraft in the cool little thunderstorm. Yeah, I don't know what else I wanted to add here. Just that, such a cool playing with his multi-disciplinary interests from religion to science. He's able to make these cool, playing with color. Like, people of the time didn't know what the fuck a spectrometer is. I can't even say it 100 years later. Spectrometers are, and that there's different light spectrums of things, but that's how it's kind of cool, because that's how we know so much information about stars and about other planets and stuff. The light spectrum that they give off is how we can tell. So all of our hunt for alien life is based off of the light spectrum that we're getting from space. And he's cool. Playing with that, way over here. Pretty neat stuff, folks, from 1927, right? I already Googled this once, but that's how bad my memory is. The Shadow. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I mean, a great read. Mm-hmm. My favorite Lovecraft story thus far. I will read more. I promised you guys I would read more. I promised I will read more.
I just got it.
I want to read Rats in the Wall.
Our list here.
The Mountain one.
The Mountains of Madness. I think I read.
The one you like, the Innsmouth.
Yeah, an Innsmouth. Yeah, The Shadow over Innsmouth. I read that recently-ish, but I would love to do it again. And At the Mountains of Madness is great. These two I know are great. I had to have read them. I remember stuff. But the other two I haven't read for sure. So that'd be interesting. So yeah, if you want to call it there, I don't know.
I think
we're pretty good. That's a shorter thing.
There's anything you wanted
to. About as long as listening to it. So
yeah,
I hope people liked it, and hit all the like button, subscribes, and all that good stuff. But we're good.
Cool.
We'll see you in the next one.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.